Welcome to Bible Lands with Dan Serns. Here we are in Jerusalem, and the last week leading up to Jesus' death and resurrection. Jesus and his disciples had walked from the Temple Mount here behind me and over across to the Mount of Olives, and as they looked back they saw the glorious temple built by Herod the Great. It was one of the seven wonders of the ancient world, with the glistening sunlight and the beautiful precious metals. And the disciples said, "Look at this. Wow, look at this." And Jesus said, "I tell you, not one stone will be left upon another." And the disciples said, "When will these things be? And what will be the sign of your coming and the end of the world?" They could not imagine that the temple wouldn't last until the end of time. But Jesus began to answer them there in Matthew 24 with a description of not only the destruction of Jerusalem that would happen about 40 years later in 70 AD, but also the signs of the second coming. When the Romans came in and surrounded Jerusalem and held it in siege for several years until they finally came in 70 AD, the Roman soldiers lit on fire the temple and the inside, and it burned up against the orders from the emperor. But then after the destruction, they pushed these massive stones off the edge of those walls and down here. And this is a visual fulfillment of what Jesus had prophesied. Not one stone would be left upon another of the temple. The Temple Mount area is still there up above where we saw the Dome of the Rock. And these walls were part of the Temple Mount built by Herod, but not one stone of the temple was left on the other, just as prophesied by Jesus.